ProWrestlingSheet.com.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Collider Bodyslam Raw Recap. Again, so much in my mouth. There's so much I got to say here.
That sounded wrong.
Yeah, did it? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, right. Yeah, fair point. Fair point. Yeah. Anyway, we are back again this week. I am John Rocha. That's Ryan Satin from the Pro Wrestling Sheet. Just back, freshly back from All In, covered in 10,000 people's other germs. He was there celebrating, having a blast. Yes, Joey Ryan is back.
Yeah. Actually,
Dick Druids, penis druids. What is it called?
Penis Druids.
Penis
Yes,
druids.
during his
Incredible.
res erection. But
Brilliant.
It was actually, I saw this when I just put the story up.
Yeah.
It was 11,000 people then.
Was it really?
11,263, I think it ended up being the final total or something like
great.
that, which is so awesome. And
Yeah.
I'm very tired. I was doing a lot of traveling, a lot of partying.
Sure.
My birthday was also on Friday. So
happy birthday.
Thank you. So I was drinking too that day. A lot of stuff went down. Had a blast. And I know you and I were here to talk about Raw.
Yes.
We are going to record a little recap of All In as well. So for those of you watching, it'll be up after this. So depending on when you're watching this, we will have an All-In recap available as well. So we'll talk about most of the stuff there. But yes, I'm tired. And I just want to say, man, the love that I received from Wrestling Sheet fans
Oh, that's great.
at StarCast, at All-In was overwhelming, man. Like, to be honest with you, you know, we've only been doing this show for about a month or so, you know, and I can't tell you how many dual Collider Wrestling Sheet fans there were that came up to me that were saying, like, man, we're so happy that you signed with Collider, that Collider now runs Wrestling Sheet.
Great.
We're so happy that you're doing these videos with Rocha.
Oh, cool.
So many people, so they're watching these videos, they're enjoying them, they're liking what we're doing here, they're liking the recaps.
Awesome.
And just they're liking the website in general. I can't tell you guys how much that means to me. I work so hard on this, and oftentimes I'm dealing with Twitter where it's always negative Twitter. So I sometimes get my point of view on myself and my website a little skewed. So it was nice to be there and see that there are a lot of wrestling, be reminded that there are a lot of Wrestling Sheet fans who very much enjoy what we're doing, who very much enjoy these videos.
That's awesome.
So thank you to all of you who came up and said something. I even worked it out with people who didn't like me before. So there were a few people who were like, no, I don't like you. And we sat down, hammered it out. And so that was nice to do that as well. So it was a very positive experience. We're going to talk much more about it on the All-In recap. But for now, we have Raw to get to.
That's right. Coming out of Columbus, Ohio. And I want to echo, thank you so much to anybody who said they were happy with these recaps for Raw and SmackDown on Collider 2. To Ryan, if my name come out of your mouth in a positive way, thank you so much.
It did. 100%.
Yeah?
100%.
Oh,
It was definitely,
awesome.
your name was mentioned by multiple people.
Oh, that's very kind.
They like what you're doing here. That
Thanks,
they like
everybody.
that you're part of the team. They were like the Outlaws, part of Wrestling Sheet. We love it.
That's where else do I belong? Where else does the outlaw belong? Well, anyway, we started off Raw, coming off All In. Raw had to bring I feel like WWE knew they had to bring it. And you could tell from the opening segment, they really did. Now we've got a confirmation. Strowman is officially heel. He is with McIntyre. He's with Ziggler. They came out together. Good these hands. They repeated what happened last week. They showed the video of that, and they stated what they're going to do. And he said he needed to get a crew with him, so it's not going to be the family anymore. This is the crew. And before anybody got too disappointed, the Shield came out. They tried to go at him. Then all these people ran out of the locker room. The whole big melee, which I thought was really well done. Sometimes these melees look a little forced or fake.
Yeah.
And this one looked like they legitimately were six animals who wanted at each other no matter what the cost. And I really liked that. What did you think, Ryan?
That's the one silver lining to me out of all of this so far has been the fact that all these guys look like they want it, look like vicious when they go against each other. I had mentioned last week that I was kind of hoping that this was more of a gray area Braun for now, just because they like to kind of switch him back and forth from heel to face.
Right.
But man, this was the most heel we've really had of Braun in a while. I'm not sure I dig it. I mean, I know that I've been like. I know that everyone's gonna call me a hypocrite because of the Becky Lynch stuff, but I just,
Well, everything's a case-by-case basis.
I know.
You can't be general.
I know, but I just know that I'm going to get like, oh, he's a hypocrite because he says. But it also felt like they're like, all right, well, fine. If it's not going to work for Becky Lynch, then we're going to give it to Braun Strowman. We're going to get rid of one of the faces you like, And so that was kind of like the vibe I got from it. I like the team.
Mm-hmm.
They seem like a badass unit. I have always said that there is money in Dolph Ziggler still, and I think. To be honest with you, you add one more guy to that group, and they do have potential to be a legit legit stable. Now,
Yeah.
they also run the risk of being like a what's the nation? Not the nation. The union. They run the risk of being like the union with Mick Foley, where it's kind of like a bunch of people thrown together, like Big Show and Mick Foley and Ken Shamrock and stuff. But I do see, as much as I'm bummed and I feel like Braun Strowman, pushing him more to the heel side of things doesn't help anything. I do like this pairing. I do think they could be a serious threat if they stay together for a long time.
Yeah, I had a horrible feeling that, and this occurred to me later on in the episode, which we'll get to at some point. The Balor would be their fourth for the Shield.
Oh, interesting.
And Corbin would be the fourth for.
No, that's not the fourth
that's
one.
what I'm talking. That's what bothered
I was
me.
thinking, no.
And when he set that match up later on the Raw, I was like, oh no, is this what's happening later on? Like after this pay-per-view, are they going to set this up for 4-on-4? So we'll see how that plays out. But I do think I think they know they can play this way with Strowman because I think they know they can bring him back, and the fans don't care. Like the fans are cool with him swinging heel to face.
But do you think that? Okay, and I agree with you for the most part.
I mean,
I agree with you for the most
he's
part.
like Teflon heel.
Yeah, but at the same time, I worry that like if you shove him too far in one direction, like I get it when he beats up your heroes or whatever.
Right.
Like he's a monster, whatever.
Right.
But it's when he starts kind of like talking crap on the fans and stuff. It's kind of like
then he's going too far.
Then he maybe goes too far.
Right.
Like, is it then still just as easy to switch him back? I don't know. I worry that, but I guess we're gonna find out.
Yeah. Well, and also we're gonna find out that with Alexa Bliss too at some point down the road. But the Bella Twins came back. That was the next match we had.
Wait, real fast. Is right after that? Is that when they announced? Is that when they teased Finn and Baron? Right
yes, Finn, Baron, Corbin again. Your tweet was hilarious. Rinse, repeat.
That was me, by the way, last night because James was still traveling back from Chicago and he got screwed in his.
Shit.
Oh man, I feel bad, dude. James had a flight scheduled for like I want to say I think it was like 4 yesterday.
Yeah.
And then it got put, or I think it was even earlier than that, like 2 or 3. Got pushed back to 6. Then it got pushed back to 8. Then it got canceled.
What?
Then when it got canceled, they told him that. Because he lives in New York.
Yeah.
They told him that he could only that all the seats were booked for the next 24 hours.
Wow.
And he was not able to get one, so he couldn't get another flight after it got canceled until 9:45 the next night, which is still tonight. So he's still in Chicago, I believe.
What?
Waiting for his flight home. Yeah. I was like, oh man, I'm so glad I came home.
Do you know who James is? Get him on a plane.
Get him home. Also, speaking of James, real quick plug. It's in the Wrestling Sheet radio feed for those of you watching on YouTube. We did the Greatest Royal Rumble at StarCast with James Storm, Blue Meanie, James McKenna, and Marty DeRosa. James Ellsworth ended up not being able to do the show.
Of course.
Yeah, I know. Fucking Ellsworth.
Yeah, fucking Ellsworth.
But it was really funny. I really enjoyed it. Had a great time. Super fun comedy show. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you haven't listened to it, give it a shot. Let me know what you think. I'd like to do more of those kinds of live show in Los Angeles. So if you like it, please let me know. Because I think it'd be a fun thing. I could maybe set more things up like that in the future. So please give it a shot. If there's any incentive to get you to listen, at one point I fell off the stage during the show. So it was an accident, but it happened.
That's excitement for you.
Yeah.
You lose yourself.
But yes, this Baron Corbin Finn Balor thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that
it didn't end up happening.
Which was good. But why promote that is even gonna happen? We're already so over this match. Everyone, it's happening every week now. Every event, it's happening now.
Yeah.
It's overload on Baron Corbin versus Finn Balor, and then they promote it like as the main event. Like anyone is gonna be sticking around for that. Like that it blew my mind. I was so frustrated when I saw that. Yeah. Copy and paste. It bothered my mind.
It did. I know. I saw your tweet. I was like, oh, yep, sounds good. Yep. And they probably heard you because they switched it around.
Okay,
they
good.
heard a lot of people.
Thank you.
You know, the Bella Twins took on the Riot Squad, Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. Look, the Bellas are back. You've been going back and forth with people online. I've been seeing your responses. I'm not 100% happy the Bellas are back because it pushes back the other ladies who've earned their spots as well. Well, not the Bellas, I don't know if they need to wrestle. That's the thing. They've got their Total Bellas. They got their Total Divas show. They're doing their thing. They've created their mini little empire. Bringing them back kind of bothers me a little bit because it does feel like they're pushing the other girls back. So, and the match here was a little sloppy all around. I thought Brie. I think Brie is the more athletic, but she's also felt a little rustier in the match.
She's had a further time away from
exactly,
the ring. Yeah.
and you could tell. I mean,
look,
there were moments.
Those guys weren't good. I'm not defending that they were looking good or anything like that. It's just, it bothered me seeing people be like, see, Brie Bella's the worst wrestler of all time.
Yeah, that's
do you know how
ridiculous.
many times we see Charlotte or the guys on 205 Live or every single wrestler who does dives?
Or Sasha,
who makes a mistake, who botches their dives a little bit. It's like a rampant thing, and people aren't going like, oh, that person's the worst wrestler of all time.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. Maybe the one that I used, the example I used of Sasha wasn't the best example because some people think that it was on purpose. I get it. It wasn't not.
Wait, do you have heat with Sasha?
No, it wasn't knock on Sasha at all.
I need to know if you have heat with Sasha.
Sasha was my favorite wrestler. It wasn't a knock on Sasha in the slightest bit. I literally, that was evergreen. I could have put, it was just the first one that came to mind. I saw people comparing the two. But like, dude, Sasha's one of the best women's wrestlers on the roster.
Agreed.
That's all I was saying is that, like, you know, when everyone else does it, it's not like everyone's going like, oh, that person's the worst wrestler ever. But there's this bias against the Bella twins.
Yeah.
You know, there's this big bias. Like, oh, they're the worst. They're the worst. The terrible wrestlers, only from Divas era, blah, blah. Bothers me. You know, it bothers me. I mean, people going like, well, they're not WWE. Because people were angry that they were referred to as WWE legends last night. And it was like, they are WWE legends. They've been in the company 10 years. Yeah. You know, Divas, longest Divas reign. You know, they've been in tons of memorable matches, regardless if you don't think they're 5-star ratings or whatever. You know, they have been a permanent fixture of WWE television that has helped further the brand for women and stuff like that. So while I understand what you're saying about having them on TV again, because it makes sense what you're saying about how, you know, other women not maybe getting as an opportunity. At the same time, they deserve a spot at Evolution.
And the thing is, Ryan, this happens all the time on the men's side.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
they bring back Batista, or they bring back Flair, or they bring back, like last night, they brought back Shawn Michaels or Kurt Angle. Yeah, other people get pushed aside or pushed back. That's how the game is. You can complain about it, but it's been happening since the dawn of wrestling because they bring, and people's reactions were pretty positive in the crowd. I just think people view the Bellas. People don't like the Bellas. View the Bellas as divas carryovers. Trying to be legitimate or trying to act like they were legitimate wrestlers, like Sasha, like Charlotte or Bayley or even Becky, all these other wrestlers that have come through, including the Riot Squad. So, but your point though is valid. They expanded the idea of a female wrestler. They laid the groundwork. Trish Stratus and Lita did their job for their time. Then the Bellas came in and did their job for their time. Yeah, you may have issues with the fact that they both hooked up with the two top guys on the roster, but that's the way life is, and that's the way it works. They got together and blah blah blah. I think some people also feel like maybe they pursue fame more than wrestling, and so I get
that's definitely the perception. Absolutely,
right. That's the perception, and you know what? I respect that. You got to do what you got to do. You got to make your money, but the consequences sometimes is the fans turn on you, and that's what I think is happening. Whether right or wrong, I think that's what's happening.
Well, it's just a weird thing to have fans turn their back on you because you want to expand your fan base, you know, and that's a weird thing to me. You know, it doesn't make any sense. It's just like, look it. The Bella Twins were already famous.
Yes.
Then they left WWE on their own to go try and pursue a career in reality television.
Yeah, like you said, they pitched the show.
Bella Twins, pitching the show.
They came up with
Total Divas, started pitching it. Then they pitched it to E. Then WWE pitched a similar show to E about like WWE wrestlers, and they were like, "Hey, why don't you guys just combine these two things?" They came back to WWE. Everything got worked out. You know, so what frustrates me is when people go like, "The Bella Twins have not brought an audience to WWE." Is mind-blowing. I can name 10 girls I know who never would have watched wrestling until they saw Total Divas. And they saw Total Divas and they got hooked on hooked on them and decided to tune into wrestling and got hooked on wrestling. There are two female writers who wrote for my site at different points in time who both didn't start watching until Total Divas, and that led to them being writers on a wrestling site. The girls I worked with at TMZ, there was like 3 girls that worked at TMZ that started watching wrestling because of Total Divas. There's girls I went to high school with that never would have cared about, don't care about any story on my website. But when I post a story of the Bella Twins, they're like, "Oh my God, I love that show," and so it's frustrating when people don't see that. They do have an influence stuff, but yes. That being said. The dive sucked. I mean, look, the dive looked bad, but that happens. That happens. I mean, terrible guys. I turn the other cheek for Charlotte all the time. So,
if I got to believe Ric Flair could beat people up still at 65 years old, I mean, those are the things you have to take one way or the other. And the thing is, the other thing too, Ryan, I think you made great points here. It's minimalist to think it's only the wrestling. It's only these current crop of women that have changed. No, you go back to Moolah, you go back to Richter, you go back to Trish Stratus, and you go back to Lita. You go back to then you go back to the Divas. They all carried the water for what was happening at the time for female wrestlers or females in the wrestling business. Now, what expanded? The Bellas came in, did their show, pitched their show. I guarantee you that show brought a lot of women to wrestling, like you said, because they weren't getting storylines overtly on the regular shows. So you create a show where these ladies can give you a window into their lives. And yes, most of it was scripted or whatever, but you saw their relationships, you saw their loves, you saw their passion for wrestling, their training, their injuries, what they went through with their families. So that gave you that humanized them in a way more than just being TNA,
well,
which is what they were for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's similar to like being the Elite. You know, like being the Elite. It's obviously very different audiences, but being the Elite made you feel like you were in on the joke with the Young Bucks. Yes. It made you feel like you were part of this, like you were part of the joke.
Yeah, like Natty was revitalized by that Total Divas show.
I mean, Naomi arguably
too.
Like is the
Absolutely.
that's why she. I mean, granted, she's got huge skill. I mean, she's
of course,
massively entertaining, great wrestler. But that show helped her out a lot. I mean, you can't deny that. You know, I mean, even you mentioned some of the having to pay respects to the women of the past. You know, they announced, for some reason it wasn't announced on Raw, but it was mentioned that after the show that it's going to be Lita versus Mickie James at Evolution. Yeah. And at first I was like, that's a weird, I don't know, I don't like that. Yeah. But then when I realized that it was Mickie versus Lita in her retirement match, and they're kind of paying homage to something that happened in the past related to women's wrestling. And I, to be honest with you, this is when she had that retirement match is a little bit of the time when I had fallen out a little bit of wrestling. And I didn't remember how that ended, where like they kind of made fun of her afterwards, and Crime Time came out and did a whole thing making fun of her after she retired. So I like they're almost giving a do-over, a mulligan to Lita's retirement match. That I kind of like that.
Yeah. And we'll see as they start announcing this card more and more. We'll see where that goes. To be honest with you, something surprising happened to Chad Gable and Bobby Roode together as a tag team. I'll be honest with you. When it started, I was like, "F this. I am not on board." Then the match started. And I'm telling you something, I don't know, maybe I'm in the minority here, but I like this pairing. I do. I like Bobby Roode. He needs to be on TV. I like Chad Gable with Bobby Roode because they're two completely different styles of wrestlers, and sometimes that can work. One guy who's the powerhouse aggressive, one guy who's more the technical wrestler doing what he's doing and can tell the story better in the ring. I saw that with Bobby Roode, and I saw the fact that Chad Gable mowed through the Ascension when he got in there, and he's a powerful guy.
Oh, yeah.
So to let him be the focus of the tag team for the power shots versus Bobby Roode, who's going to be more the methodical wrestler. I like this combo. We'll see how it progresses in their promos, but I like this combo. What's your thought?
I got to agree with you. I have said on here that Bobby Roode doesn't really interest me all the time, and Chad Gable super interests me. Like, I think Chad Gable is great. I remember when he got signed, I was like, this guy's going to be the future, I can tell. Yeah. And he's always been so entertaining to me in the ring, but he also is someone that both of these guys are good in tag teams.
Yes.
Bobby Roode, my favorite time, Beer Money. And this was very similar to that in terms of like an extremely charismatic wrestler who is a solid hand in the ring, being paired with Bobby Roode to make Bobby Roode interesting. To make you cheer for Bobby Roode. And even when Bobby Roode was in Fortune, I think pretty sure he was in Fortune, but when he was in other stuff, I've always enjoyed Bobby Roode when he's got someone to compliment him much more. And so I thought actually it was a genius move. I hate that Chad Gable is not used more on Raw. I mean, since the Superstar shakeup, he's barely been used at all. And every time he is given an opportunity, he always maximizes it. So yeah, I was a big fan of this. I thought they had fun energy and fun charisma with each other. I think there's good potential. I do fear that this is going to lead to them breaking up, and this is the Bobby Roode heel turn finally.
Absolutely.
He looked too happy, too nice. He was too friendly. But at the same time, look, if that is the case, and we get heel Bobby Roode and a singles face push for Chad Gable, great all around.
Absolutely.
So as much as I like this team together, and I say like, I'm bummed that this is going to happen, this is what I've wanted to happen. So great. If it leads to that, then this is positive all around. It's a good way to start it.
Yeah. Once again, the Ascension become the stepchildren.
Poor
Ascension.
Poor Ascension
of Raw. They put everyone over. They're just getting that paycheck, man. They're putting everyone over, getting that paycheck.
I know. The Wasteland needs the upkeep.
I need to know what I would love to have. the access you have sometimes to these wrestlers and have off-the-record conversations about what it must be like when they realize, damn it, we were coming up with all this stuff, all this momentum from NXT, and now we're jobbers to put everyone else over. What the atmosphere is like in the locker room towards them if people are more, because in the past, the stars would give you all kinds of shit if you were a jobber, all kinds of shit if you were never going to win matches and you were just there to put everyone else over and you lost your push. I wonder if now, because we're more of a touchy-feely society, more understanding society, if the guys and the ladies in the back aren't as ball-busting or sarcastic as before.
I don't think they are. You see someone like a Tyler Breeze, who I think is someone who does kind of get lumped into that, and he talks all the time about like how happy he is, how there's roles for everybody there, that everyone needs to play a certain part, and that he would like to be in the main event, but not everyone's going to be in the main event. And he likes to be used where he can to continue making a lot of money doing his dreams. So there is that. But then you listen to someone like a Zack Ryder, who I was listening to Lillian Garcia's podcast this morning. He was the guest this week, and I was yesterday's episode. I was listening to it on the way into work, and it was interesting to hear him talk about his push kind of being deflated after the whole Long Island IC, that whole thing, when that kind of got taken from him. And it was interesting to hear his mindset, because how long ago was that now? That was a good time ago, but and he's still there. He's done a lot of different things, but it was interesting to hear his more adult looking back on it.
Perspective.
Adult perspective on it. And it was interesting. He was saying, like, I'm the one to blame for that. There's no one else to blame for that but me. Which is interesting. I wouldn't have thought to hear him say that. And he basically said, look, I had this popular thing. I should have had the guts to go into Vince's office and say, where's this going? I've done this. I've got this big following. People are hot on it. Where are we going with this? Like, I should have had the wherewithal to like go in there and say something, but I was too nervous. I was too scared. And he was also like, he also kind of put it on his mass. Like he was like, look, I was kind of small at the time. Wrestlers are supposed to be big. After that, I kind of bulked up a little more. I added like 10 pounds, and you wouldn't think that 10 pounds makes a big difference, but if you look at me now compared to then, I'm way more jacked than I was back then. And so, but it was interesting to hear that, if someone go like, no, because for so long everyone's been like, man, that was wasted. That got wasted. Like Zach was the biggest thing, and it was interesting just to hear him go like, it was my fault.
Sometimes it is. And it's all these little, like I said, like I was saying earlier, everything's a case-by-case basis. Some people have the guts to walk in there and risk getting fired by Vince or being put on the bench by Vince because they want to get control of the direction of their character. They want to make him aware of what they want to see out of their character. And some people do it the right way. Some people do it the wrong way. It doesn't mean just because you marched in there, you're going to get what you want. No. It's how you present it. And if Vince or Triple H or John Laurinaitis sees the possibilities of it and then goes with it.
Well, I think Cody Rhodes and Ryback are like perfect examples of that. Cody Rhodes went in there and said, this is what I want. They were like, no, this is what I want. No. Okay, give me my release. I'm going to go out there. And, a few years have passed now, and look what happened over the weekend.
Hell yeah.
Then there's also the Rybacks of the world who went in there and said, like, I should be the number one thing in the world.
Right.
They said no, he quit. Yeah. And then now he's not doing as much, So, I mean, there are levels of that, So it's interesting. It is interesting to hear. It's interesting to see what someone is willing to do to get the result they want.
Exactly. And it happens everywhere. All right, Elias came out, did his thing. Got to walk with Elias. Alexa came out. Look, I need to be very honest with you. And I'm a little scared to say this. I love Alexa Bliss.
If there's one thing I've noticed from these Raw reviews, that you are an Alexa Bliss fan.
I'm a mark for her. Her new trunks. All I can tell you is I fell in love with her all over again. That woman is very attractive, beautiful, and great in the ring. I love how she can manipulate a promo so well now. Ohio, all that shit, and then turning it right around on all these losers who she graduated high school with and left behind.
We talked about Owens doing that last week in Montreal, or wherever he was, in Canada.
Yeah, in Canada. And Toronto, right.
Yeah, and she did it just as well. I was cracking up when she did that. That was great.
It was a great turn. And then it was announced, right, that she's going to have her match, obviously, or no, it wasn't announced, but it was talked about that she's going to have her match with Trish at Evolution, so that's going to be fun. Elias did his thing, and then, of course, Rousey came out with the music, and then all this stuff happened, and the match with Natty and Alexa went forward. I thought it was a good match. It was quick, though, but it was a good match.
Do you like Elias being used as the vehicle to promote Evolution?
I do, because if there's anybody who is in on the joke, and in on the promotion of this, and I don't mean the joke of Evolution, I mean can be made fun of to get all this stuff going forward, I think Elias is a great gateway to that.
Yeah.
Because he's funny, but he's also over with the fans and the guitar thing, all the music thing, all of that works, and they all interrupting him, using him, and him progressively getting more and more frustrated is what I want to see.
Oh, because they're totally gonna. This is all gonna end with all these people, all these women beating him up.
Yes,
before
absolutely.
Evolution, 100%. They're all gonna hit their
Absolutely.
finishers on him.
That would be great.
People are gonna be pissed, but
Yeah.
that has to be where this ends because they've been doing it too, especially since they set it up this week with the I strongly dislike women who hit men.
Yeah.
The fact that he brought that one up this week, I was like, oh, so, and that's why he keeps. I hope that's why he keeps kind of like powdering out of the ring each time they kind of come in. I'm hoping that this eventually leads to like them all circling around him, and then they all, Lita's hitting the moonsault. Everyone's doing their moves on him. That's where I hope this is going.
Yeah.
And I also think it's very smart to use Elias as the vehicle to push WWE Evolution the way they've been doing it, because it's similar to like how they use, like the Miz with his, the what's this show called? The
Miz and Mrs.
No, his talk show, like the.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
but like the talk shows and all that, it's smart,
Right.
and the
Miz
Elias
TV?
Miz TV, there we go,
Right.
thank you, and the Elias segments are that currently on Raw, like they're like the Piper's Pit segment of Raw basically.
Yeah.
So I really like that they decided to kind of like use that, because instead of just being like time to build up Elias, now they're using Elias to build up other people, and I think that's great. If they can do that, that's great. It's a win for everybody.
I agree completely, and he's a good one to do it. Like I said, well, I want to ask you one question. I know we're limited on the Raw thing today, but are you okay with how Natty, like, don't you want to grieve? Don't you want to go home and say, like, are they using this a little bit? Do you feel like they're walking that line? Of course, Natty's not going to do anything she doesn't want to do, because she's royalty there, so they're not going to let her, like, if she didn't want to wrestle, they wouldn't force her to wrestle. But the Evolutionist, do you think she's thinking the bigger picture of Evolution? She's like, I'm going to sacrifice my grief for now, or is Natty one of these lifers that's just like, I'm going to wrestle no matter what? And we've seen there have been a lot of male wrestlers who've wrestled through whatever. I mean, so
as someone who's like went through loss, I lost my brother 5 years ago, and I remember, for me, my mom, my dad, a lot of the kind of like the way we helped get our mind off things was working again. I mean, to be honest with you, going back to work, like when I worked TMZ, they gave me the time off. They were like, look, take as long as you want, go to yourself, and I came back sooner than they expected. Like I did the same thing. I was like, you know what? I'm sitting there crying at home every day anyways. I might as well just go on the road and help get my mind off of things. I mean, the fact that she's talking with Shawn Michaels backstage about, how she, her dad, and how she found this cool picture and all that kind of stuff. So I get it. I really think, having a support, when you lose someone, having a support system is so important.
Absolutely.
Like, so important. So I'm sure her support system is on the road right now. So if she could be with them, it's only going to help her.
Yeah. And the thing is, and in the end, I just don't, like, when I went through the grief of the loss of my dad 10 years ago, like, there are just random moments where you break down.
Yeah.
And you don't even see them coming.
Totally.
So I hope she doesn't have any of that in the ring. That could be weird. So that's what my concern is.
That makes sense.
It's so quickly afterwards.
Yeah, it is very soon afterwards.
Yeah. We'll see how that plays out. Well, speaking of quickly afterwards, Ziggler and McIntyre roll right on top of the Revival and just destroyed them to take their spots to go for the B team to fight for the tag team championships. Did you like this as a heel move? Did you think this is their way of moving the Revival? Because they were setting up the Revival to win these titles. Is this a way of saying the Revival don't deserve to be tag team champions?
It was tough.
Because the messages are there, man.
It's tough. It's really tough because, okay, while I very much think that Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler make great tag team champions, that adding the titles does add extra heat and importance to everything going on with the 3-on-3 thing right now. Because now we've got the WWE champion and the Intercontinental champion versus the tag team champions and another person. So it's like all the titles are in a match. So I get it. I get it. Adds extra heat, helps everything. She's like, why you gotta do my boys the Revival like that, man? Like, you didn't have to do the Revival like that. Everyone loves the Revival. And don't you remember last week where I was saying, when every time I hear someone go, we're the best wrestlers ever, I get nervous that it's just Vince being like,
you were right.
I'm gonna bury those dudes.
Right.
Remember that? I always feel like it's a setup to every time I hear that, I go like, oh, they're getting buried in the very near future. It happened when the Revival did it before Raw 25.
Right.
Then so look, I use the term buried loosely because they're still getting TV time and stuff, but I have a hard time believing, especially based on the push that Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre are getting, that the Revival are going to get the tag team titles anytime soon now.
Right.
it is a little bit of a bummer, but at the same time, it is what it is. It makes sense. It makes sense to kind of do the Shield, and it just makes sense. It makes sense. I get it.
Okay.
I get it. It puts it there. Just come on. Put some respect on the Revival's name, guys.
All right, well, let's jump then to talk about.
And I'm happy the B team lost the tag team titles.
Well, there you go.
It was time.
Do you think it'll be a six-person tag with Revival, with McIntyre and Ziggler and the B team for the title at the next pay-per-view?
What's the next pay-per-view? Hell in a Cell? Is that the next pay-per-view?
Oh, that's Hell in a Cell.
They're all dual brand. So it's Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Then Evolution, right?
Yeah.
And then Super Showdown.
I think.
No. I think Super Showdown is before Evolution. Anyways,
okay.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say next week on Raw because I saw the Fallout video where they were like, "Wait a second, we have a contract, rematch clause." So I feel like next week they're gonna rematch clause and get B team get destroyed 2 seconds. Wow. Like that's my guess.
I'd like it if the Revival beat them up and took their spot and went into the match against McIntyre.
I would like it, but I have a hard time believing that they're gonna push the Revival like that. As much as I love the Revival and would love to see it.
Well, speaking of team they're trying to push again, the Authors of Pain apparently have picked up Drake Maverick.
Oh my God!
This was. Tell me.
This just made no sense,
yeah,
Rocha.
It's horrible.
What? Okay,
if you have to introduce yourself, not only Paul Heyman, if you have to introduce yourself, this is a bad situation.
Well, it's like. Okay, Drake Maverick is so talented.
Sure.
It's not that I don't like Drake Maverick being paired with Authors of Pain. It's just this move makes no freaking sense.
Yes.
It makes no sense. I mean, why in a kayfabe sense? And I saw a lot of responses that people put me on Twitter, so I'll address that as well. But why on Earth, if you're the Authors of Pain, would you diss Paul Ellering?
Trade in Paul Ellering
for Drake Maverick,
who has no record of managing tag team titles.
No record. No track record. And if you are gonna pair Drake Maverick with the Authors of Pain, why on freaking earth did you put them in the same outfit as them? This is like, it's not the Dudley Boys where you need to have like Spike in the same gear. It honestly looked like that. It looked like little Spike Dudley.
Yeah.
And look, I know Drake Maverick likes Spike Dudley. He's a Spike Dudley fan, so maybe it's a comparison he likes. But it didn't look right. It looked so weird. It looked so off. It looked like when that Roman Reigns fan or the Shield fan jumped over the barricade dressed as the Shield.
Yeah.
You know,
when Angle did it.
Yeah.
Which was ridiculous.
It was like, why is he in the same clothes as them?
He looked like Strowman had taken out that little kid. He looked like that little kid who got taken out to fight for the tag team title. That's what he looked like. He looked like he was oversized.
Nicholas all grown up.
Yeah, it was like oversized. It didn't even look like it fit.
Yeah,
it looked like he was wearing double XL shit all over his body.
I mean, like,
it was ridiculous.
Like I said, I like it. I like the pairing.
Okay.
It's just like, man, you're gonna have to make some sense of that shit because.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why would you? The only thing that everyone said to me on Twitter was, well, I mean, obviously, I love when people say obviously. Obviously, they felt shame for dumping Paul Ellering and didn't want to like come back with their tail tucked between their legs after they've had an uneventful run without him, so they found someone else.
Yeah.
And okay, that makes sense, I guess, but like. Not really. Like, I'm sure if they were like, hey, we're sorry, Paul.
Yeah.
Paul would be like, okay, let's do this. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
And I know this is storyline, so I know they're not going to actually call Paul Ellering and apologize to him. But you know what I mean.
And Paul will beat up Drake maybe at some point. Well, Undertaker came out, called Shawn Michaels a coward.
I forgot you don't like Shawn Michaels, so it's going to be interesting.
Look, I got the point of this, and I got why it went down the way it did. I don't know. I just don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
The Undertaker calling Shawn Michaels a coward after 2 incredible matches with him at WrestleMania seems weird to me, and it seems like, oh, let's goad the fans into asking Shawn to fight one more time. It seems like an ego stroke that is unnecessary for the Heartbreak Kid. Shawn, I love you. I love you as a wrestler, man, but like this kind of stuff just bothers me all around. And, you know, those people bitch about Triple H putting himself in situations, putting his match. So it's not a surprise that he put his best buddy in this situation as well. And I get it. They have connections because of the WrestleMania matches, which, bar none, are some of my favorite WrestleMania matches ever. I get it, the connection, but I thought it was so weird. Why would he call him a coward? It makes no sense.
Do you think that it was better in terms of building up Taker versus Triple H one last time again?
Yeah.
Better than those vignettes have been doing?
That I'll tell you what, yes.
Okay.
Those vignettes they're all weird to me.
Yeah, I don't really care about the legends being like, whoa, it was going to be tough. But this did a good job because Taker was directly involved in all of that whole storyline of like last ever match kind of stuff, the end of an era.
Right. The vignettes are weird because it's like everybody knows it's scripted, so stop. Oh, I think it's going to be Taker. I think it's going to be Triple H. What are you talking about? It's scripted.
The voice of Kevin Nash says he thinks Triple H is going to win.
Exactly. That's the thing that's so
but
weird.
we never talked about how weird that was last week, and it was just like it was like everyone's video, and then just the voice of Kevin Nash for some reason, where he's just a picture of him doing this.
Probably that NWO stuff they got to figure out.
Totally.
Yeah.
So okay, I get your points.
He shouldn't. If they're going to make him fight Taker before Triple H fights Taker at British Showdown?
No way.
Well, if Taker wins, do you think now Shawn Michaels challenges him after the match, and we have another greatest showdown?
Well, so I saw someone else guess, prediction that maybe Taker really is ready to retire, and he wants his retirement match to also be against HBK.
Oh, like Flair had.
Yeah.
Which was 10 years ago. Someone posted it yesterday.
Crazy?
10 years ago.
I know.
I'm sorry.
But similar to like HBK and Taker. So it'd be like they both had their final matches with each other, you know? But
since when do you get to put yourself over? Dude, that's been the decades. Vince has never let people win their and put themselves over and retire their way.
It's a weird I don't like that. Yeah. I gotta say, I like that Shawn Michaels has been the anti-Terry Funk. That Shawn Michaels has stayed true to his retirement. Yep. I will say,
it's bullshit that he said the fans, he's honoring the fans by retiring. Bullshit.
I love when he said that, and it was met with, we one more match.
Yeah.
One more match.
Listen to the fans now.
What the fans are literally telling you they want to see you wrestle one more match. They're not saying that. Exactly. But that aside, I am the opposite. I'm huge HBK mark. So I liked that it was, when they announced that HBK was going to be on Raw, it very much felt like it was going to be just kind of like your run-of-the-mill Shawn Michaels coming out, he says it, goes back to the back, not a big deal. So I like that he came out, he was doing his thing, and then The Undertaker came out. Like, I don't think anyone was expecting The Undertaker to come out during that segment. So usually they've been promoting The Undertaker because he has so few appearances lately. Yeah. So I like that it was a surprise. It was a good surprise. And I like that it sold the Triple H Taker match.
Sure.
I like that. I don't like the teasing of another match. Even though they weren't really doing that, you can't see Shawn Michaels do... We all know Shawn Michaels, the performer, loves wrestling. Yes. We all know it. And we as fans who watched Shawn Michaels forever know that when he starts saying stuff like that, you're like, oh, this seems like a setup for another match. This seems like a setup for him coming back. If it's one more match, you know what? I'm kind of cool with it. He had mentioned he wants it to be a tag match, so I do fear that it's going to be something boring like DX versus Undertaker and Kane or something like that. And like, I don't care. Greatest Royal Rumble 2, DX versus the Brothers of Justice or whatever. So or Brothers of Destruction. So
sure, bunch of guys in their 60s.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'd much rather see like a Shawn Michaels versus Mojo, Shawn Michaels versus AJ Styles, Shawn Michaels versus like Seth Rollins.
You want to come back? Bring it.
Shawn Michaels versus Roman Reigns, like any of those.
Sting took a buckle bomb. You can take a buckle bomb, son.
Exactly.
That's what I'm getting.
So I'd be okay with it as much as, even though I would like to see him stay retired because his legacy is something that I really respect. I love Shawn Michaels. So I don't really want to see him wrestle another match. Okay. But if he is, this was cool. Right. Even if he wasn't, this was really cool. It was a nice change of like, oh damn, like this went from not that important of a segment to like real important segment real fast. And I like that.
And Taker can still do it, man.
Man, he's got it, dude.
I mean,
both of them. Both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, when there was that thing when he was doing that, I know we made fun of the fact that the fans were still chanting one more match and stuff, but I couldn't help personally getting goosebumps when he was like, I do respect for the Undertaker, like I do. I stayed retired. Like you're like, oh, that's classic HBK. Yeah. I love it. I love it.
No doubt.
I wanted so bad for him to hit Taker with a super kick. So bad. Oh. I was sitting there like, is he gonna super kick Taker right now? Like, damn, they're going ham with that Australian money now, dude.
It'd be great if he super kicked him and Taker didn't even move. That would be great. Then he'd be like, oh shit. All right, Sasha Banks and Bayley, they took on Ember Moon and Dana Brooke, which basically was a setup to break up Titus Worldwide. Dana walked away. Said she was sick of both of them. Apollo should have been nothing but supportive. What are you sick of, huh?
I know.
I mean, I'm trying to be on your side. What are you sick of here? So she ran out, and whatever's going to happen from that, and it was just a weird match. And so, I guess just to put Sasha in there and the Boston Hug connection.
Yeah.
Anything we need to say about
No,
that?
not really.
All right, fair enough.
It was what it was.
Yeah, let's move on to something more interesting. Kevin Owens assaulting Bobby Lashley. I thought you quit, son. Here he is hitting him from behind, and Lashley doing the meditation thing. Look, the promo for it backstage, I was like, what is this? What is this stupidity?
Same.
And then him walking out into the ring, though, I was like, oh, this is kind of funny if they make it work, because Lashley is actually really funny if you give him the right material. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then Owens coming out took a next level. So is it going to be Owens Lashley? Because if it is, I think this is a good guy to pair him with that will, like, carry the match when he needs to, and also sell the massive shots by Lashley. He can't take on Strowman, but he can give his best to Lashley, don't you think?
I completely agree with you. I think they would be a good pairing with each other. They'll both complement each other well, even though the Sami Zayn feud didn't work out very well for Lashley.
Fair enough.
I have higher hopes for Kevin Owens versus Lashley. However, what was the point of last week? What was the point?
Yeah.
This was my favorite comparison of all the things that I tweeted last night from the shitty count during the show. He totally pulled a George Costanza. Like, quitting and then showing back up at work like nothing ever happened. Like, what? I didn't quit. What are you talking about? Like, that was one of my favorite Seinfeld episodes. When
Hiding
he did
under
that.
the desk. Yeah. All of that. All the stuff he does at that job. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I was bothered that every single fan, wrestling site, talking head, recap show, all seem to have a better prediction or idea for Kevin Owens quitting WWE than what they actually did. I mean, it was so uneventful. It was so just like, what? Like, what? And then I know we're skipping ahead. I'm skipping ahead a little bit here, but wasn't he helping Braun Strowman in the after the main event too?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That. If I thought Drake Maverick being the Authors of Pain was offensive because it made no sense, this just was like a slap in the face. I mean, this was just like all logic being thrown out the window. I did not get it. I felt like it was just like a maybe we don't do this firing thing, and they switched course real fast, and I didn't like that. There was like they had a really cool setup for something that they did last week, and they literally just like, nah, never mind.
Yeah,
that was kind of that left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I'm like, what's the point of this whole thing? And maybe this is a way to set up Sami Zayn coming back, interfering in a match between Lashley and Owens, and it's a way to, but it just didn't make any sense.
No,
and you're right. And speaking of that last match, Finn Balor took on Strowman. They changed it around. Corbin did, and said that it would be Strowman now, which everyone was like, oh no. But then Strowman showed up because he has to show up, I guess, because he needs help against Finn Balor. He showed up with McIntyre and Ziggler. That was weird. Yeah. Strowman should just handle his business. Honestly, McIntyre and Ziggler should be surplus to needs and then only taken off the shelf when he needs him when he's on a 3-on-3 situation. But taking off Finn Balor, you need to bring you back up. I get that it's a heel move, but it makes no sense. Yeah. And the match was fine. It was a cool little match. And, of course, Strowman defeated him by pinfall. No problem there. But then all hell broke loose again. So when they were trying to put Balor through the steps and shit like that. So the Shield comes out. But then you're right. All the heels, of course. This is an interesting situation. And it struck me as it was happening. Like, all the heels came down and destroyed the Shield. None of the faces came down and interfered. So I was like, what happened to the guys at the back in the beginning of the feud, at the beginning of the show? All of a sudden they don't come out? Like, is this a tribal thing? Like you're doing like where only you're gonna destroy the faces? I don't know.
I was wondering the same thing. It was like it was almost the theme of this entire episode was the theme of this entire episode for me almost felt like, what you did I understand, but this makes no sense. You know, it was like every segment kind of felt that way for the most part. Okay, I see what you're saying, but like, don't you remember all this? Was very confusing. And it was like, are there no faces on Raw that no one was interested in helping out that? And why did all the heels care? Like why? Like why would Kevin Owens want to be helping Braun Strowman and company? When was Drew Gulak ever tough enough to beat up Roman Reigns? So many questions that I had while watching this segment. I was just like, but the main thing I thought to myself was like, the main problem I had with this is that they were all acting like heels throughout this episode. The Shield acted like heels. getting arrested, that whole thing.
That was cool.
Stealing a van.
Yeah.
Those are all heel moves,
Yeah.
though. Like, I
Yeah,
get it.
you're
Like,
right.
I guess it's like an Austin anti-hero kind of thing here, but like, technically, you got arrested and stole a police van on Labor Day. Like,
Yeah.
you're kind of a dick. And so, like, I didn't understand the Shield looked like dicks, and then the entire heel side that comes out to also look like dicks. So it's like, who are we made to root for here? Like, am I supposed to be cheering for the Shield here? Like, am I supposed to be cheering for Braun Strowman? Who am I supposed to be cheering for here? Like, I get there's these gray areas, but give me a few non-gray areas. Like, give me a guy. Even if they got their ass kicked, if one or two guys had run out there to try and help the Shield, they would have got a huge reaction or something like that. It could have helped go forward with something else, but it didn't make a lot of sense. Just like having them all beat down, the whole entire roster beating down the Shield. Just like, I get that visually it was cool, but storyline wise made no sense to me.
Yeah, they're already outmatched with Strowman and McIntyre and Ziggler. Like, that's already an outmatched situation 3-on-3 between the Shield, because Strowman by himself could take all three of them out, honestly. So to me, to have more people come run down, it just didn't make any sense overall. And then what happened? And then it seems to me like I was thinking near the end of the program as it was finishing, I was thinking about why they did this and why it went the way it did. I was thinking, oh man, is this a setup to bring Angle back? To kind of corral everything.
Oh my God, I didn't even, or even as the fourth Shield member, because they had all four Shield guys.
He was a Shield guy before for one match, wasn't he?
Oh man, yeah,
so
he was.
I think they might bring him back.
He's the fourth. Oh man.
No, don't say such things. Don't say. If I don't want to see an Undertaker Triple H match, I certainly don't want to see Angle wrestle again. Good God, no more match. No more match. No more match. He was struggling during his two matches that he had. So, but boy, when you've seen the man in his prime, it's really tough to watch him because he was such a great technical wrestler. To see him barely being able to the moves he could get away with, like, I'm just no. So, but I think that I wondered if that was a setup to have Angle come back and like bring or restore order, blah blah blah. So I don't know.
I also didn't understand the crew, like someone from the crew. I know I already mentioned Drew Gulak, but he's part of 205 Live.
Yeah.
Why was he there?
Yeah.
They're not on the show, the 205 Live guys. Like Drake Maverick and Drew Gulak suddenly invaded Raw or something.
Yeah.
I know they were for a period of time. We haven't seen the cruiserweights on Raw in a long time. That being said, I hope that we get Drew Gulak versus Roman Reigns next week. Even though it'll be a total squash match, I hope that we get something on that, because I would like to see it.
Some people liked it, though. Some people were like, well, it works because then we know the Shield's on their own. They have to battle the odds and blah, blah, blah. But, like, you don't need it.
No.
They're already an underdog in the situation.
Well, and it just goes back to, like, the whole Hounds of
Hounds of Justice. Yeah.
But they're not bringing justice for anyone but themselves in this scenario. Normally, that makes sense because it's like there's all these bad people they have to rise up against. Yeah. But they were the dicks in this scenario, and Braun Strowman has corralled all the other dicks to out-dick them, and now it's like this big dick party, and it's not even dick druids. So, I don't know what's going on, but it should be interesting to see how they play it off next week.
There you go. All right, well, that's our Collider Bodyslam Raw recap for this week. Ryan, do you want to tell people where they can find us or all the stuff that they can subscribe at?
Yeah, so if you're watching on video, please check out our Wrestling Sheet radio feed on iTunes, Podcast One. Subscribe to us there, leave a rating, leave a review. Helps us out a lot. Please share it. Please help us out. Those kind of things go a long way. It helps with the whole algorithm of things, and it really, really does make a difference. So if you can go there, it would be a big help to me. Also, Aaron Turner, I meant to tell you, his show is finally gonna premiere this weekend. He's so happy. Yeah, I'm happy. I paired him up with a girl, a woman I'm a big fan of. I think she's a great personality. Her name is Rachel Evans. Okay. And she is a huge wrestling fan. She is a big-time indie wrestling fan, Lucha Underground, NXT, ROH, New Japan. She loves all that stuff. So her and Aaron, perfect combination. I listened to their first test episode this weekend. I had them record something just so I could hear if they had chemistry together. Yeah. And within the first 3 minutes, I was like, man, I am good at pairing people together, because I was laughing my ass off listening to the show. I was so entertained. Also had good insight from indie wrestling fan perspective. So that show is going to be debuting soon. It's called Collider Bodyslam Best of the Rest. So I did not fully steal Aaron Turner's show from him. He's got his own one coming out now. Still part of the Collider Bodyslam family. So please check out our audio feed. If you're listening to the audio feed, check out our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/c/wrestling sheet. Putting videos up there. Over the weekend, I didn't have as much interview time as I would have liked with people, so I didn't really do a ton of interviews when I was in Chicago. Chicago. But I did put up a cool video that is a post. Everything that happened after All In went off the air in the ring. A lot of people were watching that since the pay-per-view ran a little long. That part didn't get to air, so go check that on the YouTube channel. Also, make sure you follow us on social media. It's at Wrestling Sheet on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find me. I'm at Ryan Satin. Where do people find you at?
You can find me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. And everything that Ryan said, I echo it as well. And great to hear that Aaron's doing a show. And I've been a fan of Rachel Evans for a while. She's done a lot of stuff over there at AfterBuzz, so I've seen her break some stuff down.
Oh, cool.
She knows what she's talking about.
She really does.
So, it's good. It's a good choice. It will be fun to hear their show. And maybe I'll get to be a guest every once in a while when I learn something about indie wrestling as deep as these two apparently know it. And they do. So that'll be fun to hear that show this weekend. And you guys, also, we've got so many other stuff going on. Collider Sports YouTube page, Collider Sports podcast feed. That's all breaking out. Go subscribe to the Collider Sports stuff there. Obviously, our regular Collider video stuff. And, of course, other things going on at Collider Gaming. There's so much going on here at Collider. Subscribe to all of it. We're trying to bring you as much content as possible going worldwide. So we're going to see what we can do with that. All right, thanks everybody for watching this week on Collider Bodyslam Recap. Don't forget, we have an all-in recap. So if once you finish watching this, go and watch the all-in recap. Ryan and I are going to break that thing down. Ryan was there, so you have a personal take on it, having been there and witnessed it all live. Me sitting back through my computer watching it, so we'll see. All right, thanks everybody for listening and watching, and we'll talk to you next week on Collider Bodyslam.
ProWrestlingSheet.com